Okay, well, I guess the hour being 3 o'clock, we'll call this regular meeting of town council to order this 25th day of May, 2021. We have an agenda before us here. Are there any additions or deletions you requested? No? We could have a motion to approve the agenda then as submitted.
I so move, your worship.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. All in favor? Opposed? I guess I'll do that again this meeting. We'll just go for opposed. And motion's carried. Okay, next on the agenda are the adoption of the minutes of the May 10th regular council meeting for consideration. Would someone like to move?
I'll move those, your worship, Gavin.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. Anyone opposed to the motion? It's carried. Thank you. Next item is are the meetings of the special council meeting of May 17th for consideration. Would someone like to move we adopt those as submitted?
I will do that, your worship.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Barkley. I'm sorry. Any errors or omissions to be noted? No, if not, anyone opposed to the motion? That's carried. Thank you. All right, we have a delegation here today. And, who's doing the introduction or?
I guess I can do the introduction if you like, Todd.
Okay.
I believe, I guess Vanessa maybe just confirm that Tim's online, but we have Tim Ainscough with the Kinsman Group, the president of the Kinsman Group, just to have a quick go through of the disc golf course proposed, as well as some of the expectations or requirements on the town's part the Kinsman would like in part of getting the course going and just of maintenance of the course as well. So with that, I'll just hand that over to Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
Are you able to hear me now?
There we are.
Thank you for the introduction, Stephen, and thank you, your worship, for allowing the Innisfail Kinsman to come today. I had circulated a PowerPoint in advance, and I'm not sure if council would like me to go through that real quick. I think it's about 9 slides. Or if council is familiar with it, I would really open it up to questions.
Oh, certainly.
Would council like to go through the PowerPoint, or?
Sure, go ahead.
Vanessa, are you able to bring it up?
There we got you.
Okay, we could go into the next slide. So this sort of gives you an overall of that whole Centennial Park area and where the dog park is in relationship to the parking lot and the treat areas and the cemetery. If we jump into the next slide, it sort of shows the proposed layout of the first 9 holes. And we've staked that out with some lath up in the bush and gone up there with a couple of councillors I know have been up there. I'm not sure if everyone's had an opportunity. We've been up there with operations, and actually quite a few people have been playing the course just with the lath as it's set up. Josh Getty, who came to the last council meeting with me, he's an avid disc golfer, and he's had a number of people come from other communities as far as Edmonton, Calgary, and some of these places playing the course to see if it's going to play how they want it, and they're actually very happy with it. So if you go to the next slide, Vanessa. So as we mentioned before, Kinsman's going to raise corporate sponsorship for each of the holes. In exchange for that, this company providing the sponsorship, we would put their name on some signage in the parking lot showing the whole course plus on the tee boxes. To date, we've received payment commitments on 5 of the holes, and we got 3 more committed for. And I'm confident we can sell that last hole and be ready to go if council agrees to let us proceed. With that, in talking with Stephen, and we're working on an agreement, what we would do, we know everything will survive at least 10 years. So what we've told the sponsorship, they get a 10-year commitment, and then at sort of the end of 8 years, the town of Kinsman take a look at it, make sure it's in good condition, and then we formulate what we would do for the next 10 years, whether we need to update or something. Yeah, next slide. So we're looking at selling each hole for about $2,500. That works out to about a $250 commitment per year. We feel that's pretty good value for businesses, and we've had very good reception. It'll raise us about $22,500, which will cover our costs to buy the baskets, put up the signage, and then to build the tee boxes, and then we'll work with the town. You know, whether we put a couple park benches up there and some garbage cans where it's accessible for them to empty them, but provides enough for people using the area. Next slide, please. So for construction, given once we get the approval from council, we'll order the baskets and signs and put them in right away. Then people can start playing. What we would ask is if the town is able to help us install the signs and baskets, basically we'd need a bobcat or a handheld auger, depending on whether or not they're able to do it. If not, we'll take it upon ourselves. It's only about 9 holes, 18 holes that need to be drilled up there. And then what we would do is later on this summer, work with a contractor to go in and put those tee boxes in, and we'll hire a contractor. Hopefully we can maybe get a contractor to partner with us. Maybe they'll buy a hole, we'll pay them to do it. We'll work that out, but we'll get the tee boxes put in later this summer and get that 9 up and running. But as soon as we get the baskets in and the tee box signage, they're out there playing. Well, they're out there playing it right now. We did meet with town operations. There was concerns over how much maintenance. The area stays natural. It's not like a golf course. You don't have to mow it. The trees that are in the hole are a good thing. They're like water hazards and bunkers and stuff. So really the commitment from the town, and I think go to the next slide. Operations. So the town, what we'd ask the town is commit to mowing or trimming around the baskets once or twice a year. I think if it gets used lots, that's not even going to be a big issue because the grasses are going to get trampled down like the other trails. And then if any trees fall over, the town already does that maintenance up in that area, but all we'd ask them is if a tree falls down or something, that they would work with us to get that out of the way. Really, that's the only commitment we need from the town for operations and maintenance. We'd go in, there's a little bit of deadfall where some of the holes we want to put in. We talked with operations, we'll just take that, drag it a little further into the bush and get it out of the way so there's no tripping hazards. But that's all really, the course is pretty well playable as it is. We just need to put the signs and baskets up. And next slide is on to questions.
Okay, any questions?
Your worship,
Yes. Councilor.
to the delegation, there's a couple questions I had asked me about. I know we're looking at, you proposed some signage at Centennial parking lot. Is there going to be any other signage like from the connectors to it just for the trails? Just so, you know, because some of the holes, couple holes that are within the trail system, just to let people, like if they're on a mountain bike and they're coming down a path and there's someone throwing a disc and they're not really aware that it's part of the whole like a disc golf course. Has there been any thought into how you guys might mitigate that risk?
Your worship, through to Councillor Hill. Yeah, when we were up there doing a couple 3 walkthroughs, the holes 2 and 3 are on some of the existing trails. So we would have some advanced warning signage saying, you know, disc golf ahead. The disc throwers can see the trails. So as long as those warning signs are up and everyone's cognizant. Myself, I didn't do a lot with disc golf, and I played a couple courses myself. Some of them are in areas like that. Some of them are also in wide open parks where, again, it comes down to the people throwing the discs have to be aware of where they're throwing them so they're not hitting the kids playing soccer and the people walking the dogs. So we will have that kind of signage up. We talked with operations about where we want to put some of that already.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that.
Your worship, I have a question. So at the prodding of a counselor who shall remain nameless, I did go up there and walk that, Counselor Hill. The one question, I didn't actually walk 6 and 7, but 8 and 9, it's quite rough. Like I envision somebody turning an ankle or that sort of thing. Not that, you know, I'm not sure who would take that responsibility. And again, I'm not looking for the town to get more involved in helping to set this up, but it seemed quite rough, some of it, that I'd be a little concerned that
Counselor Bates, I think you might just have to switch out to your off-road cane instead of your on-road cane.
I didn't use a cane. I'm betting that quad that you used, I saw the tracks.
Your worship, through to Councillor Bates, what we did when we walked it with operations, what we propose is we'll have kind of a trail for, because of course we played, like some of these young kids that play it, they play it in Drumheller in the hoodoos and stuff like that. So they like the off-roading and the climbing over whatever and playing with Josh. He's walking through the bush. But we'll also try to map out a less rugged trail for the mums or dads that are taking their kids out there, or grandma and grandpa taking them out there. So we will have that. The nice thing, once we get the course established, there's an app called a UDisc. And it's like when you go now, Innisfail Golf Course has the new golf course app, and you bring it up, it brings up each hole. We get that as well, and it'll map out your trails, GPS connected, so we can have the easy walking path and the young guys walking path.
Okay, thank you. Like I wasn't, and my observations are whatever those small impacts were with the trails. I didn't look at the second 9, by the way, yet. I don't believe that's staked. Anyway, it looked to me like minimal interference with the trails, but I think if those people are suitably warned, then to me, an awful lot of it looks like otherwise totally unused terrain. So I would be in favor of us continuing to look at this.
In your worship, through to the delegation, and Councillor Hill, I did too walk it despite your comments from previous meetings, but we won't get into that right now. Another councillor and I did have some correspondence early this afternoon from a concerned citizen just about holes number the 2, 3 that you've already mentioned, Tim. So I think, you know, you're obviously aware of maybe some potential impacts with, it was somebody that I know likes to ride a mountain bike through there, and they were somewhat concerned of the getting hit with a disc. So I think as long as you're aware of that and we'll take the appropriate action, that's fine, and can pass that back to him to let him know. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else got any questions of the delegation?
Not a question, just comments. I think it's all positive, and it looks like the kinsmen are going to take into consideration any concerns we have. So I think this is a good idea for the town, and I'm in favor of it.
Through to your worship, through the delegation, I'm also in favor of it, and I did walk the course, and I commend the kinsmen for taking the initiative and also doing their homework. I know when they first proposed, the concern was existing trails and removal of trees, and from what I saw, I concur with Councillor Bates that there's very minimal damage to existing trees. So I fully support as laid out, and looking forward to the back 9 when we get around to that.
Okay, any further comments? Well, I think it's a great project, and I'm proud of the Kinsmen for their commitment to the community. So I think, I mean, there's always some liability to these things, but if you didn't accept some of the liability, we wouldn't be doing anything. So I don't know. It's unfortunate, but hopefully nothing happens. The rougher areas, Tim, that Councillor Bates pointed out, right? Can they be smoothed a little bit or lessened the roughness that's we're talking about?
Your worship, yes, it's something we'll, as we get in there with a contractor, hoping there's a few areas where we can smooth it out and make it a little bit
Yeah.
easier to walk. Again, we don't want to have a big impact on drainage or any of the existing vegetation, but I think there are a few areas where we, you know, a bobcat or a brush mulcher might be able to go in and smooth it out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's too worried about having a full-grown or groomed trail, but just to alleviate some of the obstacles would be about the real concern. But no, I think it's great, Tim, and the Kinsman Club. I'm all for it. You got my support.
Good. Well, thank you, council, for allowing us to come in with a delegation. And I'll wait to hear back from Director of Operations, Stephen Kennedy, I guess, as to where we go next.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, for clarification, I don't know if we're going to, do you want to continue on some discussion or debate and at this point in time, or what is our train of thought here, Mr. CEO?
Thanks, your worship. You can certainly enter into your deliberations now or put it further on the agenda under community services, or yeah, either one now is fine or later on the agenda. I'll leave that to you and council.
Okay, well, I think it'd be good to discuss it, just quickly go around the table, but I think we should at least propose a motion today that we support this project in principle and wait to hear the final I guess results of any study, or what else do we need, Todd?
Exactly, your worship. I think from the delegates' presentations, the two presentations, as well as Stephen's work with Tim, the Kinsman Club, I think they're likely in the position to look for formal decision to proceed if possible. I think if you could leave it to administration to final any details through whether it's an MOU or a letter of understanding, I think we can nail that down. I don't think it's highly complex. I think likely, put it onto Steve with Steve's confirmation to make the recommendation to approve the project and the design as presented and get the Kinsmen moving to start constructing their project.
Okay, well, I think it's be good if someone might consider a motion to proceed with this in principle, and that administration work out the details with them.
So just for clarification, worship, just on the definition of in principle, it's kind of liking the idea, not confirming. I'd recommend you remove in principle and just confirm to proceed if that's what council wishes to do.
All right. Is someone prepared to make that motion?
Your worship, I would make it.
Okay, Councillor Hill to proceed and for administration to continue finalizing details.
Yes, that's correct. Sorry, my phone cut out for a second there.
Okay. Any further discussion for this motion? Anyone opposed to the motion? Motion is carried. All right. I guess we'll move on to administration. Item, the CAO's report, Mr. Becker.
Thank you, Your Worship. I won't get into any details regarding the report unless there's any questions regarding any items outlined within the report or anything else you wish to discuss. There are a couple additional components to the CAO report. One being that often every year, but not so much every year, but administration brings into Community Services Committee and so to council directly smaller contracts or lease agreements ranging in around of $3,000 per year, actually $1,200 per year to $5,000 per year. And right now, the town is used to having these contracts and leases coming right before a council and for your review and approval, which is fine. I'm just wondering if you would consider a little bit different administrative procedure, council procedure on and quickly working within these leases. Within the town's procurement policy, I'm just looking on my side here, the CAO is granted authority to procure services, goods, and construction works for anything under $75,000. Also procurement, as outlined in the town's approved annual budget, the value is equal or to or lower than the amount approved in the budget. So ideally, these smaller leases, if we can move it towards the budget deliberations and council could provide direction perhaps at that given time, whether it's you're looking at a marginal increase to leases and contracts, which would be listed out or maintain, or perhaps it's in the rates and fees bylaw. But just looking for some direction, if we can move the leases and contracts under my authority and jurisdiction directly, not to remove you from the picture, but council would be part of it during that time of rates and fees bylaw review or the budget deliberations. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So outstanding leases right now is the farmer's market of $3,600 per year. Innisfail minor hockey concession of just shy of $4,000 per year. Eagles dressing room, $3,600 per year. Figure skating storage, $1,200 per year. Curling club, $5,000 per year, and the senior drop-in, $300 per month. And just to streamline our engagements with the public side and to save some time administratively, just looking at your guidance and support to defer these discussions to the budget or the rates and fees bylaw review and eliminate the on occasion annual or every 2 to 3 years review of these leases. So again, confirming that through the bylaw of procurement, you're granting the CAO the authority to work to procure value of anything less than $75,000. So I'm just looking for your feedback if how you wish to proceed, if you want to maintain direct review of administrative reports when they come due, or to defer this conversation in a different fashion, different manner during the budgetary process or rates and fees bylaw review.
Okay. Any comments from the council?
Through to your worship, through to CAO Becker, I support your proposal there that we do it at budget or at the fees and schedule rate setting. It takes away from tying up time at a council meeting to talk about some of these lease rentals that are pretty minor actually, where administration could look after them. So I would certainly support your idea and your proposal of just bringing it up at budget time. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Harrison. Anyone else?
Your worship, through to CEO Becker, do you need a motion for this, or?
Sure, just for it's on the record, Councillor Barkley, if you don't mind. And yeah, just gives clear direction, and because we didn't really talk about the rates and fees at budget about marginal increases unless they outline it specifically in those lease agreements, we would be looking at holding the line likely, Director Jenkins, on each of these leases. Just, we're not looking at any increases due to the situation. We'd maintain anything that's outstanding, we'll just maintain that rates and fees as they are, and come back to council during the 2022 budget deliberations, or the rates and fees, whatever is applicable. So I think a motion would be appropriate, Councillor Berkeley.
So would you like that motion to be that it's reviewed at budget time? And just leave it at that, or? It seems to make the most sense to me.
I think so, Councillor Berkeley. I think that's appropriate. Megan, any comments from your side?
No, not really. Just that we're also going to try to look at getting these leases lined up so that they're up for renewal sort of in a similar period of the year, so that we can reflect these types of decisions if we do it in accordance with budget, so that we don't have 3 or 4 coming due every month and trying to keep track and determining whether rates need to be increased or not. So no, I think that'll be helpful and will help streamline the process a little bit.
Okay. Well, I guess I will make a motion that we move leases, facility leases, into budget deliberations starting in 2021-22.
Okay, did I give you enough, Mr. Becker? Okay. All right, any further discussion?
So through to CAO Becker, your worship, the question I would have is, so if you've got somebody who is looking for the security of what they're going to have for a lease, let's say this October or September or whatever, that would possibly carry another year, would you just be telling us through your council report that you've assured them that they've got this status? Or I'm just curious, like, there's going to be some between now and when that review happens. So I did hear status quo, but that could carry right through till almost the 2022-23 budget.
Exactly. Your worship, Councillor Bates, each one will be reviewed, each lease will be reviewed on its own merits, and we'll have that dialogue with that group and council as required. So if we have a longer term contract, we have to honor that contract, obviously. So anything that's due within 2021, the communication will be, we'll have to kind of evaluate them on their own merit. Maybe it's extended for that year based on status quo. So I think each one would have a different date and timeline. So we'll leave it to Director Jenkins to administer council's direction. If we can apply it right into 2022 budget deliberations, maybe modify the dates to streamline as Megan's recommendation, we'll make that go. But yeah, we'll communicate back to council on that engagement with the different associations.
Okay, and I'm assuming you may even get requests for people to reduce depending on their circumstances here, wherever we're going. So thank you.
Okay, any other further comments or discussion? Well, we have a motion then to proceed with this process and an assistance to helping administration their discussions and communications. I guess I'll ask the question then, is anyone opposed to this motion? Not, motion is carried. Thank you. All right, CEO Becker, ECC, COVID-19.
Just to conclude the ICO report, Worship, just want to recognize Stuart Fullerton. He's leaving us. This is his last council meeting. So I want to embarrass him a little bit, as he often does for the rest of the administration team. So I can open up the mic maybe. Anyways, in respect of Stuart and his service to the community for, I think, 6 years, Stuart, just want to recognize you formally with council and the community for the work you've done to raise the bar on our administration team while you've been here. So I just wanted to inform council this is it for you for your meeting, and I wouldn't say you're going on to better things, but you're certainly going on. But no, in respect, I want to appreciate all you've done for our community. So council may want to echo some of those little jabs in respect to you. So thank you. And that's my report, Your Worship.
Okay. Anybody else want to say something to this guy? Fullerton?
Well, Your Worship, I'll start for sure. Stuart, we'll miss you immensely, and thanks for all you've done, and you've been so helpful along the way, and have done a great job. I know corresponding with Chamber and everything, and I'm wishing you all the best. I hope they have a good lunchroom for you and kind of a never-ending food supply. But and I'm sure, considering what you're going to go do, that hopefully we will see you lots. Let's put it that way.
Okay, anybody else?
Your Worship, through to Stuart. Yeah, Stuart, I've only been working with you for about 6 or 7 months, and it's really been a pleasure. You're a very forward thinker. You've got some great ideas, and you've brought a lot to the short time I've been at the council table to helping me with my deliberations and going forth. I wish you every success in your new position. And I'm certain that we're not going to lose touch. I certainly hope we don't. And please, whenever you're in town, or feel free to drop in either on a personal basis, stop in for tea or coffee, or some haggis. They're around February 2nd. I know you're Scottish, so good luck, Stuart, and we'll see you soon.
Anybody else?
I'll just mention that Stuart, from my perspective, you've been so solid there through 2 administrations. So thank you, and good luck.
Okay.
Yes, Your Worship, I just wanted to wish Stuart all the best, and one of the more fond memories was heading out to Rocky to a market on Main, and I made it back one piece. So that was pretty good, and Stuart didn't eat all my beef jerky, which was kind of a surprise. But other than that, yeah, best of luck to you, Stuart, and yeah, I'm excited to see what the future has in store for you.
Okay.
Well, I'd just like to say good luck to Stuart, and I know Councillor Harrison hasn't been around long, but if we ever get back into buffets and stuff, it won't be a race to the front of the line anymore if Stuart's not there. So and he's been very helpful through the years, and he was able to move to Innisfail, and that was he's been a very positive influence on us all. So good luck, Stuart.
Anyone else? Staff? Here's your chance to roast them.
We have way more chances yet, Your Worship.
Your
Okay.
Worship, on that note, if I could just thank everyone for those very special comments. Really nice to hear from all of you. Of course, the sentiment is very much reciprocated. Can't speak highly enough of all of you and the work that you're doing and the support you've given me. CAO Becker in particular has been, a huge support to me, and grateful for the opportunity to be able to pursue a career in the community that we've grown to love, and it certainly is that. Yeah, excited for the new opportunity, but I will miss all of you. But as has been stated by at least one of you, I do hope to keep in touch and see you in the not so distant future, hopefully. So thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Stuart. We will miss you. No question. Your contribution has been just super with ideas. So good luck. I know you'll do well where you're going to, but hey, I like to think there's somewhere on a mower or somewhere we could find a job for you if it doesn't work out. Anyways, thanks, Stuart. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, Mr. CAO, did you want to proceed with the COVID-19 report? Or I guess, should we get a motion to accept your CAO report first? Is someone-
Also move we accept the CAO report.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Reberger. Anyone opposed to the motion? Motion's carried. Okay. Mr. Becker, the ECC COVID-19 report.
You know, Mayor and Council, I did not pull stats. I know there's some positive trends moving down on cases per day in the province, which is great. And also the rate of vaccinations are also increasing, which is really positive. Really the only thing to make note of is that as of today, schools return to in-person learnings. So again, that's the indication we're on a positive momentum. And again, I didn't pull stats and everything that's going on, but I think you're likely more in tune than I am on those. And that's really all I have to report on today, Mayor and Council.
I have one question of you, Todd. Have we had any discussions with the grad committee, what they're doing?
Yeah, I'll put that over to Director Jenkins. Megan, if you don't mind.
So the last we've heard from the school is that they have moved away from their previous plan where they were going to do a march down Main Street, I believe. All of the grad ceremony will just be live streamed. I don't even believe parents are able to go to the actual ceremony at the school. So as it stands right now, we likely won't see any official activity for the grad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Okay. I don't think there was anything else. Any other questions of the ECC committee? No. Would someone like to move we accept this report for information?
I so move, Your Worship, that we accept the report for information.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Anyone opposed to the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you. Council Action Control Plan. And no questions on that. And would someone like to move we accept this report for information from the control?
I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. Anyone opposed to the motion? And it's carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to an RFD regarding Parkland Foundation Housing for Seniors 2020 financial statement.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, there was a typo in an earlier version. It is the Parkland Foundation 2020 audited financials. And we're just bringing this forward to inform council that it's been passed through their audit. The Parkland Foundation management body is mandated to operate under the Alberta Housing Act and related legislation and regulations. Its primary purpose is to administer and maintain a portfolio of comfortable and affordable residential housing units for the benefit of citizens to whom various social housing programs are targeted. In 2020, Myers Norris Penny LLP was used by Parkland Foundation for their annual audit. Myers Norris Penny LLP is an independent firm of chartered professional accountants, was appointed by the board to audit the financial statements and report directly to them. In the opinion of Myers Norris Penny, the financial statements attached are presented fairly in all material respects and show the financial position of the foundation as of December 31st, 2020. And the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. And the report is attached. Included in the 2020 audited financial statements is management's responsibility, independent auditor's report, statement of financial position, statement of operations, statement of changes in net assets, statement of cash flows, and notes to the financial statements. And we are looking for a motion that council accepts Parkland Foundation's 2020 audited financial statements as information.
All right, are we, anyone prepared to make that motion?
I will make that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Barclay. Discussion?
Your worship, through to Councillor Barclay, do the requisitions, they're yearly, is there any idea what, if any, the requisitions per capita will be going to coming up, or is that too early to tell yet?
No change. It's on our property tax bill.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Councillor Harrison, it's 155 a year is the total, 155,000 for Innisfail. So I know on my property tax, it's about $4.36 for the year.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Barclay. Yeah, I don't know what mine is, but I was just wondering if it was proposed to go up in next year.
No,
Thank you.
no, not so far that we have heard. I think they're able to maintain operations. The way things are going, so.
Okay, there's no further questions. I guess I'll ask the question then. Those in favor of the motion to accept this for information? Anyone opposed? No, the motion's carried. Thank you. Okay. Director Jenkins, Dodds Lake Area Recreation Plan.
Right, thank you. So we are looking today for approval from council for the Dodds Lake Area Recreation Plan. So as we know, the town in conjunction with Stantec Consulting completed a community recreation plan for Dodds Lake and surrounding area. The plan is long-term and the process and results, I think, were very successful in terms of defining a vision and outlining that value of the lake. So the plan was largely intended to define acceptable uses for the lake and to create a design for future enhancements of areas surrounding the lake. The project included extensive consultation with landowners and the wider community through 2 public surveys and online discussion sessions. So this plan process was actually probably our first major foray into COVID era public consultation. And we were able to utilize an online forum type of opportunity, which I think actually gave us some new opportunities that we might not have explored otherwise due to the COVID restrictions. So the first survey that was conducted sort of July, August of last summer really focused on the uses of the lake and what people thought was acceptable, what people liked and disliked about what was going on or how the lake was utilized. And a lot of the feedback that was received from that first round was generally positive, that people like the lake the way it is. They enjoy it. One of the big takeaways I took, even just from comments from the consultant, is how much of a gem Dodds Lake really is for the community. It's quite unique for a community our size or for a community period to have a water body that is accessible in the way that Dodds Lake is. So that was really a positive part of the process. Again, there were numerous opportunities for that engagement, and I think there was progress made on building trust and understanding with the area residents. We can go through the document just sort of in general. But I guess the plan consists generally of an outline of the approach, applicable legislation, the feedback received from the community, and then the creation of those 4 distinct design concepts, which are the southwest, sort of the main boat launch area, and the east end area, which are both town-owned spaces that we can look at directly in terms of capital investment in future years to utilize this plan to create those spaces. The 2 areas identified on the north are more dependent on future development around Hazelwood and then into the Dodds Lake outline plan area. So those are a bit more development dependent. So yeah, I don't know if there's any questions specifically with the document. It's not a draft anymore. But yeah, if there's any questions or comments from here, we've been working with communications with Ken to get a dedicated sort of Dodds Lake page on the website that would include this plan, as well as some of the general, some of the rules, the regulations, that kind of stuff that go along with it. That will be a permanent page on the website for people to get information, about the fish, about things that are going on at Dodds Lake. In your package, I had also included the signage, but you guys probably already saw it because it's up now. But yeah, looking for adoption, and then we will be utilizing this plan for our capital planning processes for the next few budgets.
Okay. All right. Could we start with the motion then to approve the Dodds Lake Area Recreation Plan as presented?
I would make that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Bates. Discussion. Not that we haven't discussed it, that's for sure. But I think there's been a lot of good discussion, a lot of good kind of like breaks taken in the course of the process and realigning some different thoughts. But I think you've come up with a great end result for us here for the town. Okay, well, if there's no other discussion then, is anyone opposed to this motion? The motion is carried. Thank you. And thank you, Megan. All right, correspondence?
Your worship, can we just talk about a couple of things on the correspondence here? First off is number 6, the Rural Health Professions Action Plan RAPSI Awards. Jennifer Wood, Dementia Friendly Coordinator, Ellen Helgeson, AHS Recreational Therapist in the community here, and Wendy Evans, Geriatric Nurse at the PCN, were awarded the RAPSI. They typically hand out 3 of these awards per year in the province, but they had 2 exceptional winners, and so the group from Innisfail here was one of them. So we should be very proud for the work that they have done, and it's a very prestigious award that they've won. It's a provincial-wide committee that chose this group of professionals. So I'd just like to say good job to them and acknowledge them. And then number 2, did have a discussion with Mr. Ladd a few days ago. I also happened to be playing golf on the weekend, so 2 days in a row. I witnessed Lakewood being, I'm going to say, used as a racetrack. Cars flying down there, noisy mufflers, and I know it's a concern to the residents. And I'm wondering if we have any thoughts of what we may do. I think Alan is maybe suggesting we reduce the speed limit from Aspen out to the highway. But I'm not sure if you've had some discussions with him, Mayor Romaine, or not, but.
What's he thinking of, Gene, like going down to 60 all the way?
Yes, I believe so. And I think they also wouldn't mind, like maybe just a sign at the entrance, like a crosswalk sign at the entrance, because there's residents, of course, going across to the trail system.
Yeah.
But it was quite an eye opener. I mean, talk about timing. What I saw on Saturday and Sunday, like there was probably 3 cars that were, it was almost like they were racing from 54 up the hill past towards Upland Aspen. And, you know, I would guess they're probably going 100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And he said it's, you know, it's like that a lot. So I don't know what suggestions are. Maybe CEO Becker, maybe you can have some discussions with them. Maybe you already have, but you know, it keeps coming up, this concern.
Your worship, being a Zoom, it's hard to tell who's. Mr. Ladd did phone me, said he would be probably trying to contact other councillors as well. As I look at, I actually drove out there today on my way back from the golf course both ways. I think his suggestion of the speed limit being constant makes a lot of sense. As you come from the 54 bypass, there really is no reason to accelerate up to 70 just to slow down when you get to Upland Aspen. And there really is no reason to accelerate up to 70 as you're going out too. So I hear them all the way down here where I live, the noisy mufflers, and I think that constant speed does make a lot of sense. So I'll just say that from my perspective. And I don't know if there'd be a staged type look at the thing. If that speed was constant, maybe some of the other concerns would not be as prevalent, but the speed certainly makes sense to me.
Okay, anyone else?
Sure.
Go ahead. Councillor Weaver.
I agree that the lowering the speed would make sense. We have the big long service road from the Petrocan down to the south overpass, and it's 60 all the way. And I think that makes, you know, if we're going to do that on that side of town, we should do the same there. I think that makes sense. It might take care of some of the concerns. I know on council previously, we've had quite lengthy discussions on putting a crosswalk there, but you really can't build a crosswalk to nowhere. Like there's no trail on the other side, there's nothing there. But we do have a sign saying, look out for pedestrians as you come into town before you get to the crosswalk of 56 by 56th Street. I wonder if we couldn't put up just some more pedestrian awareness signs to warn. I don't know how we could put a crosswalk in, but maybe we could do some more signage or something to make the more aware of pedestrians in that area.
And your worship, through to Councillor Rehberger, my understanding is they're not looking for a crosswalk per se. It's more just what you were describing, an awareness of pedestrians.
Yeah, this has come up in the past, and it's been a bit of a hard one. What could we do? But I think signage might be, not that everybody reads signs, but it might give somebody some awareness.
Okay, any other comments?
Your worship, yeah, so we're certainly take council's conversation aside administratively. I know the manager of Fire and Protective Services, Gary, is on the call as a guest. Won't put him on the spot, but I can relay that there has been progress made based on the concerns raised by citizens in that area over the last couple of years. We'll come back to you with some ideas, some thoughts, and some of the things that have occurred up to this point. And maybe come back to the next meeting with some advice from administration and how you may wish to proceed. I did have a chat with Mr. Ladd, echoing what council's comments have been. That is the signage component, and maintaining the same speed limits right through. And of course, enforcement goes along with that as well. So again, from administrative perspective, there has been some progress made, but you're certainly hearing back from citizens that a few more things can be done to assist with this situation.
I have a question through to CEO Becker. Is this the type of situation where we could do a little trial too? Because the way the signs are set up right now, if you just took down the 270s and put up 60s, you'd just about have it for a trial. You wouldn't even need to put up new posts. Just a thought. And yeah, I don't hear any opposition to it here. Thank you.
And your worship, Councillor Bates, and just hearing Councillor Barkley speak about, there is occasional excessive speeds. I know our data, which Gary will bring back, shows that there's some one-offs components, right or wrong, but I think the data will dictate what kind of average speeds are going and what are the extremes and so forth. So we'll bring that data back through a report. Again, whether it's 60 or 70 kilometers an hour, if you're going 100, it's still 100, but enforcement has to go along with that. So we'll pull the full package together and come back to you likely at the next council meeting.
Well, I certainly agree with the enforcement aspect of it, but I think if we look at not creating that acceleration, that really you have no time to use it after you've created it in either direction. I'll mention one other one that maybe we don't need to debate it here, but maybe administration could look at it, because I've heard in the past, and I know we put our sign up on the 2A coming in from the Niobe. Took real notice the other day, and it drops from the 100 to a 70, and the 70 ahead sign is literally around the curve. And by the time you see it, if you lift your foot from the accelerator right away, you're going to have to use your brakes quite a bit, which it's not natural that a lot of people want to do that. They like to coast on the speed they're up to. So I would just ask admin to maybe look at that and see if the signage that is there currently makes sense, that perhaps it should be a little more advanced, that somebody sees that. 70 ahead, and yeah, just a suggestion to look at.
And your worship, through to CEO Becker, since we're on the subject of speeding, 42nd Street comes up quite a bit too. Just conversations in the community. I did reach out to someone and ask them to forward or to speak with you if with their concerns. I don't know that they ever have or not, but I've heard that many times about 42nd and the acceleration down towards the industrial park. So sorry to inundate you with all the speed issues, but
Again, I think staff have done a good job, and I think that that'll kind of indicate what challenges we have, and there are occasional situations, but from my perspective, for what I know and talking to Gary and his team weekly, is we don't so much have a speeding problem. But we do have the occasional one that certainly would breach the speed limit, but certainly Gary will be set up to speak to this at an upcoming meeting.
Okay, do we need a motion at this time, Mr. Becker, or can we just refer these to administration to report back to council?
Yeah, I think it's probably best that we have it tagged on the books, your worship, for administration to bring back
Okay.
data and administrative advice regarding speeding, Lakewood Drive and other mentioned areas at a future council meeting.
Okay. Someone prepared to make that motion?
I'd still make that motion, your worship.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Orson. No, that's covering just in general speeding, I guess, to some degree on 3 or 4 hot spots, but I think that's what the intent of the motion is. Any other discussion? Okay, anyone opposed to this motion? No, then motion's carried. Thank you. What about the rest of correspondence there? Anything else?
Your worship, just point out one that I did send an email to all of council and to CAO Becker, the Municipal Users Group Executive Director position. Since there's 30 odd municipalities, it was decided at the group to suggest that the municipalities themselves, whether it be council or administration, make it known that this position is being they're trying to fill it, and just see if that attracted enough applications. It was felt that it probably would. So just pointing that out. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on those correspondence? Okay, well, if nothing else, then would someone like to move we accept these for information?
Your worship, before I make the motion through to Councillor Barkley and the rest of council, should we formally recognize the Rhapsody Group there for their prestigious award from the town, like whatever that might be, if it's a letter or something, but to formally recognize them? I know we're all very proud of them, and we've done it through this council meeting, but I think something maybe a little more formal from the town might be an.
Yeah, I agree, Councillor Harrison. It was my intent to do it. Anyways, I was gonna, because Vanessa and Todd always look at these things as a.
yeah, and if you'd like, your worship, I know I believe it's next Monday at 9:30, the committee, we're having a meeting, so I don't know if you want to pop in for a moment to say anything or send a letter. I know that that they are also getting, there'll be an official presentation as well, probably in September, depending on COVID, because they want to have a wrap up of the dementia friendly community initiative, and they have not been able to do that because of COVID. So our PAP at that time would actually be coming to do a formal presentation, and there's also I think a $2,500 gift that for a nonprofit in the community as well that will be given to them.
Yeah.
So whatever works for you.
Sure, we can come up with something. You bet. Okay, we'll do that. I still need that motion to accept these correspondence for information, I guess.
I was so moved to make that motion, Your Worship, that we expect her as information.
Okay, thank you. Anyone opposed to the motion? No, carried. Let's quickly go around the table. Councillor Hill, you've had time to prepare yourself for this.
Yes, Your Worship. Thank you very much. No, nothing too much to add. Obviously, some exciting news with what we've heard about the stocking of the pond. I witnessed a little bit of it through video, not in person, unfortunately, but pretty exciting for our community, and obviously seeing all our park spaces being mowed and well looked after. Everyone seems to be using our amenities, and that's a great feeling for sure, seeing all the potential of our community. And yeah, with the motion that was passed today with advancing the disc golf course to see put it in the capable hands of our administration and the Kinsman Club is just awesome news. So that's all from me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bates.
I still want to know if Councillor Hill walked that course, but
Is that a question, Councillor Bates? Or is
Sure.
that more of a statement?
No,
I
it's a
did walk
question.
the course. I did walk the course. It was quite nice. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I did have the two Red Deer River Municipal User Group meetings last week. They'll be coming out with their detailed minutes, which are always good. One of the things we did do is preview a video that they've put together describing the history and the purpose of the organization going forward, and we look forward to being able to share that with everyone once it's official. Yeah, I have a police and safe community meeting this week. I do have a question through Your Worship to Director Kennedy. Is there any update or progress on what CP when CP might allow us to go with the no horns on all the crossings except the one that doesn't have arms?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did have a phone call with them here 2 weeks ago, just in regards to the projects they have forthcoming, but they did not have an update in regards to when they will be posting the signage. It does come down to posting the signage first, their part, before they will stop doing the sign or whistles. So they were not able to give me an update.
Well, I guess I'd like to ask them that question, seeing as we've put enough effort in this for this, because probably in most cases it's removing signs, or maybe they put an optional thing up for their engineers. But if we could get an update, I'd appreciate it, because the whole thing has actually evolved better than I expected it to, in that we don't have to invest a lot of money. So I'd just like to get her done. Thank you.
Definitely appreciate that. And so would I, definitely would like to get it done. It's been quite a process. I can tell you that they did provide us with some agreements, update agreements on all the crossings. where they did try to propose an increase in the speed. We did catch that in the review, so we have sent it back to them, declining any increase in speed through town. So that is something that we're working with them on, as well as the whistles, as well as the pedestrian crossing. So we definitely have a lot of things on the go with CP right now.
Well, the two don't have anything to do with each other, but it doesn't surprise me that they're trying to increase speed. I think that's what they've done, particularly on that crossing by the fast gas, where you've literally got a bank in the rails now, and that's why it got so rough. And now I realize they're still not quite done with that, but you've got one rail higher than the other one considerably, so they can go around the curve. Interesting. I see they didn't get the Kansas City Southern agreement, so they should have lots of surplus cash.
Okay, Councillor Barkley.
Yeah, I had a Chamber of Commerce meeting last week, so I think everything sounds, Megan, like it's underway with the market. And Stuart, was there much uptake in the course that was on last week for small business financing?
Yeah, your worship, through to Councillor Barkley. We had about a dozen register, and over the course of the webinar, I think there were about 10 that stayed online. It did dwindle as it went on, but yeah, that was the number that I'd recorded.
Well, that's great. Wonderful to hear. And just back to the railway tracks for second director candidate, your favorite subject, I know. So the crossing on 50th, are they coming back to fix that sooner, or that's another thing maybe they haven't mentioned to you yet?
They did give us, they call it a 60-day notice to come in and do upgrades and maintenance to all of the crossings. But again, yeah, it's a pretty wide window, but they are definitely planning to come in and fix those tracks still.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Rehberger.
Last week, I attended the Parkland Regional Library System meeting on Zoom. One of the things that came out of it was they do and they post this on their website for all the participating libraries, but they put on there a return of investment. So for the town of Innisfail, their levy last year was $67,091. And they're saying our return on investment was $9.19 on each one of those dollars, for total benefits to the Innisfail Public Library of $616,369. And how they come up with those numbers is direct financial return to Innisfail was $26,000. Technology savings to Innisfail Public Library was $17,000. And then the resource areas, which is items borrowed from other libraries and digital items borrowed through the Parkland Regional System, was a value of $573,000. So they're just statistics, but it's kind of interesting that they can show that it's a good return on investment, and it's available online for anybody that wants to see it. And then later today, I have an Innisfail Public Library meeting to attend. That's all.
Okay. Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I didn't attend the fish launch on the weekend, but I was there shortly thereafter, and there was good uptake. There was a number of people. The boat launch was full when I was there. Lots of fishermen, families from out of town due to the long weekend. I talked to one family that came up and was saying at the Discovery Wildlife Park for the 3 days they were there fishing, and they were the only folks that I saw that had caught any trout. So that was quite encouraging. I thank Administration and Public Works. The signs look really good. And I see we got our refuse container this morning. So we do have a garbage can there. So hopefully everybody uses it. Thanks through to Megan for that. I did have a call also from Mr. Ladd, and everything was covered off in sort of the roundtable. by the other counselors. And I just like to say, I agree with the 60 km/h speed limit going down the hill. I could never figure out why you would accelerate to brake at the bottom of the hill and then, or even to go to the golf course, but there must have been a reason for it. The other thing was the service road north of No Frills. I see that there's a trucking firm that's dropping their, while they're parking tractors and trailers along would be the south side of that street and dropping their trailers. So maybe it's just something that bylaw needs to look into. I know there's no parking on the north side, but I don't think it's designed to drop a trailer for a couple days and pick it up later. So maybe just something to look into for administration. Other than that, Thursday evening, we've got the community and policing committee meeting. Looking forward to that and the discussions around, provincial police forces and RCMP and that. So it should be as always, a great meeting. So thank you, Your Worship.
Okay. All right. I have one thing. I was asked by Mayor Hunter from Didsbury to perhaps assist them in their request of CPR to clean up their tie piles in town. And apparently they've got quite a bad session of it now. Crossfield does too, and we've got some piled up. So Mayor Hunter thought it'd be good if we could get all the communities here to get together and send the same letter to the CPR and request them to clean up their ties, at least in the municipal urban areas anyways. So would you have any objection to me writing them a letter in support of Didsbury and Crossfield and CPR cleaning up their right-of-ways, ties? And there, again, Mayor Hunter's point is too, these are contaminated products that kids are playing on and everything else. It's not good. Not only is it an eyesore, but it's not a good health measure to be leaving stuff like that piled around town. So unless anybody has any objection to it, I'll go ahead and support her with a letter.
Your Worship, I guess I haven't seen them, but I don't need to see them. The only thing I would ask you to do would be to touch base with Director Kennedy as he's trying to ask all these other questions. Make sure that we're not, that we work the two together as much as we can.
Yeah, okay. I'm assuming, Gavin, it'd be a different department that would be dealing with it too, but it's just that, these are a contamination issue and should be dealt with. Okay. What about, I'm gonna ask a question here. I think the rodeo has been called off again this year, right? Is anybody sure of that? I guess what I'm thinking is that if there's no rodeo again this year, there'd be obviously no parade, that if Innisfail might consider doing their own parade on July 1st or something. We could throw something together. I think it would be quite popular, but I honestly haven't heard if the rodeo's on or not. Last year they called it off quite early.
There was a post on Facebook from the rodeo committee canceling it probably 6 weeks ago. I haven't seen anything newer than that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm open for ideas, guys. What do you think about doing a little parade on July 1st?
Well, Your Worship, Rotary has always done the rodeo parade. And I know, they've been kind of wondering what's going on, and obviously found out that the rodeo has been canceled. So may want to have some discussions. I guess it depends what's happening with COVID protocols at that point in time.
That's right. No, understand. No, I guess we probably won't know. I doubt if Alberta Health Services would be able to make a ruling on it at this point in time anyways, if we did contact them. That they would certainly be our first contact, that's for sure. But anyways, maybe I'm just, I've had a number of, not a lot of people, but comments that it's really too bad we don't have a parade and all this and that, but
Well,
anyways.
Your worship, I agree with you. I mean, if we can do it, would love to do it. It's just a matter of whether we can, right? And things seem to be getting better, but
Mhm.
I don't know whether CEO Becker or Director Jenkins has any insight into that kind of thing at this point in time, but.
I guess I'll just add, and I know Danny can maybe chime into that the Community Services Committee has been meeting a couple of times on Canada Day planning. Again, trying to plan events that should be COVID flexible and not necessarily creating one large congregation all in one spot. And I believe one of the activities they're looking at does involve a drive-by type of a route that would go past some of our seniors' homes, that sort of thing. So maybe not a parade per se in what we would typically think of. But again, I guess depending on the COVID rules, by the time we get there, we're only, 5 weeks away from Canada Day. So that could look like.
Yeah, so it's a vintage car parade is what we're looking at. And then we've got, between that and the fireworks and 2 other events that we're trying to do that can go ahead even with the COVID restrictions we have now. So we're not really looking at trying to do anything over and above what the restrictions are now, because that's really hard to plan for.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, I just thought I would mention it, but that's pretty much all I have. I guess quickly go around with the staff. I'm curious what Stuart might have to say here. You got anything to say?
Just one quick one, Your Worship. I think, as was alluded to by Councillor Barkley, we have the second of 3 business webinars running tomorrow. It starts at 11:30, runs till about 1 o'clock. This one's called Startup Steps. So again, for anyone looking to start a business, we are asking folks to register at innisfail.ca/business. So feel free to join us if you're able to do so. And other than that, just again to thank council again for their comments. And I look forward to participating in these meetings as a viewer and a citizen going forward.
Thanks, Stuart. Megan, have you got anything else?
Just a shout out to operations, because I know they're sick of me for getting the signs up at Dodds Lake, and obviously got the garbage can out when I asked to. And you'll see some concrete blocks showing up on Main Street in the next day or so as well. So just yeah, that they're behind all the actual things that show up in these places. Yeah, that is about it for me.
Okay. Erica, have you got anything?
I don't today. Thank you, Your Worship.
No. Stephen.
Just, I guess, a couple quick updates. Obviously, our Main Street our rehabilitation projects are going on. 53rd Ave, 46th Ave. We will be. We've got notice from Border Paving and Central City that we'll be starting our surface improvements projects here within the next 2 weeks, plus our mill and overlay. So we'll have a lot of activity happening within the next 2 weeks throughout town. So definitely appreciate the patience we've had so far on the blocks that we've got opened up, but we will be definitely moving forward on some other projects. So lots going on this summer. It's a very busy summer for us, and so far going very well. So
good. Good show. All right, have I touched on everybody? Who I missed? Mr. Becker, have you got anything you wanna?
Just to echo Councillor Harrison and Councillor Bates, Thursday, I think Thursday it's, oh geez, I'm gonna guess 5 or 6. I'll say 5 is the Policing and Safe Communities Committee. We do have a delegation regarding the government exploration of a provincial police force. I know it is RCMP related, but it will provide you some information, what's going on with that review. So that meeting is really geared on the survey. Public Surveys Board has helped lead. So some feedback regarding that survey, what people are saying regarding community safety and policing. And of course, the delegation speaking about the police force component. So it's an important meeting, and if council can make it, that'd be great.
Okay. I just about slipped, but Vanessa, have you got anything you need? Or you're looking for here?
I don't have much from myself, but we do have 3 members of the public on the call. And if any of them would like to speak, they could please raise their hand when you do the open mic.
Okay, well, we're ready for them, so. Do you want to direct them in, Vanessa?
Sure. 3 of you on the call, if you would like to speak to council, just use the raise hand feature now. It'd be a no. Okay, thank you.
Nobody else? Okay.
No, Your
well,
Worship, no one wants to speak.
Okay, thanks. Vanessa. All right, well, there's nothing else at this point. We can entertain a motion to go in camera.
I will make that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councilor Barkley. Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Take a couple minute break.